Hi, I'm Phil Borkin from JBWere's Investment Strategy Group. As you can see, filming this video today in a slightly different location than normal, but clearly times are pretty unusual at the moment. Admittedly, they're also unsettling, and so I certainly hope for the good health and safety of all our clients and their families at the moment. The COVID-19 outbreak represents a highly unusual shock for the global economy. Usually, meaningful economic slowdowns are caused by something internal, like the build-up of structural imbalances or cyclical forces like a central bank tightening monetary policy to quell inflation concerns. The COVID-19 outbreak is none of those things. Its impact comes from the physical constraints placed on economies as governments attempt to slow the spread of the virus. It's a true exogenous shock. But there's little doubt that those physical constraints are going to have a dramatic impact on economic activity, and we're already now starting to see that. The term recession perhaps underplays the speed and extent of economic disruption, and maybe sudden stop is a better way to describe the nature of this event. And so in that regard, the moves we've seen in markets, and equity markets especially of late, perhaps are justified. Now, I don't mean for that to cause alarm. Instead, I wanted to highlight that to show that just as quickly as these constraints have been placed on economies, they can be removed again. And then, at least in theory, that should allow economic activity to rebound quite rapidly. And to some extent, that is still our base case. The trick, of course, is when will that occur? But certainly, we suspect that just as quickly as markets have moved to price this economic slowdown that we're now facing, they are likely to preempt the economic recovery on the other side before it even gets underway. There are both upside and downside scenarios to that from here, but that unpredictability emphasizes the need for clients to stay invested. Moving to the sidelines now risk crystallizing losses which would be difficult to recoup without remaining in the market. Now, given the moves we're seeing, we're actively looking at the conditions we need to see to become more positive. And we've got a set of signposts that we're looking at to justify and make that judgment. So what are those signposts? The first is the virus itself. Are we getting a slowdown in new cases? Is there any information on treatments, on cures, etc.? Second is around market sentiment and positioning. Third, policy stimulus. Is it targeted enough? Is it large enough to avoid some downside tail risks? Fourth, evidence of any contagion in credit markets, which could cause some second round impacts. And then finally, signs that economies are stabilizing. They don't need to be recovering, just stabilizing, which markets would welcome. So where do we sit on those? Well, it's fair to say that we have become slightly more positive than we were, largely because of where market sentiment is now, but most importantly about the amount of stimulus that's being provided by governments and central banks. Should go some way towards avoiding some of those negative downside tail risks. But look, it's certainly too early to declare the all clear. But what we would say is we'd feel comfortable saying that equity markets will be higher in 12 months' time. It's just that there's still likely to be a lot of volatility, and so that warrants ongoing caution on the part of investors. The final thing I just wanted to say is that we should not dismiss or underestimate the power of human ingenuity, particularly when there's a common goal like there is in this. And as each day goes by and more of the world's resources are being dedicated to understanding, to quelling, to treating, and perhaps even curing this virus, we're getting closer to an endpoint. And there's certainly some really positive stories going on around companies working together, some treatments, some data, some technology that's being used to understand this virus. And it gives us a scenario about how we can exit out of here. We're not there yet, but certainly we're making some incremental steps in a positive direction. Look, I'll leave it there, but as always, please reach out to your JBWere advisor. Thank you, and please stay safe.